We have Dactyl versus Night Spear. A ZvP. So far so good, no reason to be worried about the probe, I would say. The probe's left, unless it's dropped the pylon and it's feigning. I think we're all good though. Interesting, high wall and low wall. I think this is an interesting take though, because this gives you a lot of chances to make a lot of units and be counter aggressive. A lot of chances to be counter aggressive. Made a really early roach warren. I guess we suspected aggression. We're floating enough money to be making everything into drones, and we really should be. We just need to see the front, man. We just need to see this. We need to see when our opponent leaves their base. That's pretty much it. There's no way for him before like 4 minutes, 4:30, unless he's like a one base DT drop. There's no way for him to leave his base and be on your side of the map without you seeing it if you have something here. And if he kills the overlord, or you don't want it to be an overlord, just build a pair of lings. Leave like one here and one slightly off to the side, so you can replace this one if that one dies. At this stage, you're in a good spot economic wise. You're like, but you haven't got back on gas, so that's why. Like, your economy's a little bit boosted there. I think we should have got back on gas at 320-ish or something like that. Let me fix that up. I think we should have got back on gas at about 320. I'm just worried though that without seeing what he's doing, we're just guessing. And when we guess, we can't make the correct assumptions, right? We can't make the right choices when we're guessing. We're droning up hard. We don't see him leave his base, and we're just going to get blindsided. We just die. We just get blindsided. What are you expecting? And I guarantee we go back, we will see this leave his base. So it's just 5 gate, handful of workers. Look, if we had a unit there, even if we had an overlord, by the time he kills the overlord, as long as we're not silly enough to be like one overlord from a supply cap, we just make lings behind the back of this and just crush this. If this was +1, this would be terrifying, actually. You know what I mean? Like a handful of zealots, and there's like, because no Zerg is going to be diving in their overlord to count probes, right? This looks fine. This looks fine. But realistically, no Zerg is going to be diving in to count probes. This game comes down, why did I lose? You didn't have a unit to see him leave his base. Like, when do we realize? Oh no. So 5 zealots is going to be at least 20 lings. 3 stalkers, is going to be, like, in good scenario, even in a half decent scenario, like the lowest estimates, 3 Stalkers and 6 Zealots, is still going to be like 30 Lings you're going to need. You have 4 Lava and 4 Lings and 4 Queens. If you pulled all this to the front, I think this is fine. We're just going to like slowly sacrifice bits and pieces. We're going to have our roaches come around one at a time. Just leave a unit outside their base, man. This is funny. Game's over. I don't know what else to say about that. Like, if you saw him leave his base, would you have died? And if you saw him leave his base with 6 Zealots, 3 Stalkers, and you still died, I don't know what else to tell you, man. I've got another one from Dactyl. I don't know why this one was so big. It was just the files that were in it, I think. Yeah. Hello. How you going? ZvT. Classic shenanigans. So far, so good. I've got no complaints yet. I actually hate standard opener versus Terran. I pretty much prefer a 15-15, even a 14-14, just so you got the queens out. It's so much less work for you. If my screen starts wobbling, my cat is headbutting my monitor. Yeah, it's a good monitor, isn't it? Everything's all good. We got our Ling speed dead on 100 gas. What did we say? This is well timed. The bunker, factory. All this looks like a very standard game. And drone. Not one drone. Not one drone. 2 drones. All drones. There we go. We did it. We did it. Oh, we're 36 out of 36. It's a good supply block. Strong. A strong supply block. Supply block of champions here. Now, again, we have really good vision if he chooses to come here, or if he chooses to come here, or if he chooses to come here. This Overlord is dead set useless. The reason is, unless he is taking this base and mining it, you're going to see nothing. Unless his units are being literally pulled into the corner here, or told to attack the cooling tower or the rocks, you're not going to see it, right? Every time a unit is sent from here over to here, it's going to come down here, and it's going to cut across this, and then come down here, right? It's not going to go anywhere near this. This seems like a really cool idea. This might be good for a late game, but right now this Overlord offers absolutely nothing, and I'd be surprised in a 20-minute game if that Overlord sat there, it saw anything. It would see anything of any use. We're droning like mad. We have 4 Lings, 4 Queens out, and this is prime. This is the problem, right? We're not actually thinking about what our opponent's doing at all. We're just playing single player and hoping that we don't get absolutely bummed by doing it. a standard opener for Terran is the quad Hellion, right? That hits at 4 minutes already. This is late. So now alarm bells need to be going off in our head, going, what's going on? All right, we see the Hellions. We're making Lings. Hellions are fast units, though. You know where these Overlords could be? That would be helpful? Here. Here. This one's good, but it's flying away. And here. You know why? Because we can catch every rotation. We only have a handful of Lings, right? And we only have a handful of Queens. Queens can't travel across this gap of creep anyway. This creepless gap. So we need to make sure that our stuff is where it needs to be. And this just isn't it, right? The Queens are supposed to... The Queens are really good because they're tanky, right? The Hellions do nothing against them. We're going to get the Reaper here, which is good. But the Hellions don't do anything to the Queens. So the Queens are the best tank here. These Queens will take 8... I don't even know, dude. Like 26 shots to kill or something with the Hellions. Like, it's a lot, right? 23, maybe? Depending on how the armor helps. Anyway, it's a lot. It's going to take these Hellions a long time to kill one Queen. And likewise, it takes a long time for the Queens to kill a single Hellion. We have absolutely garbage DPS. We have 8 damage each side, but the Queens are slightly faster. But while the Queens are chasing these around, the drones are burning. Now, the idea of the Lings is to let the Queens are supposed to come in and either push the Hellions away completely or get them to take a fight, and then the Lings come in for a surround while the Hellions are fighting something else. That way they don't cop that first burst of flame, and they get a lot more. Look at this. Look how much damage those two did. Alright, now we're sweet. But we are also floating so much money leading into this. This hit late as well. We're floating enough to make 2 hatcheries right now. We could have had 3 more Queens on the way. And so this is going to square up our economies pretty well. Square up our economies pretty well. And then, what do we do off the back of it? Yeah, we're making Queens. We should have made those Queens earlier then. What's he doing? Is he taking a 3rd base? Is he going into battle cruisers? We have this Overlord here that is supposed to be scouting, right? This would tell us the 3rd CC, we're going double factory, triple factory, 4 factories. Right? This is information we need to know before we get hit by like a 10 tank timing or something ridiculous, alright? Now, we know that it's Mass Hellion. A Roach Warren is the only way to go as far as I'm concerned, unless you're really good, confident with your macro and your Ling Bane. A Roach Warren is the only way to go. You've already got a layer, so you're halfway there with that. We have a Roach Warren, which is sick. I would love to see us just take these 2 and not worry about this. We'll see what happens. My concern here as well is that we have no spores. We have so much money for extra defense, for extra safety, for an extra base. These things buy time as well. We took the double evos, haven't used them for a while, which really sucks. We're ahead in economy, which is really cool. But when these Banshees start heading over as well, we have no safety. We didn't build the basics. The basic safety blocks of seeing him leave his base, of building enough Lings to stop the Hellions, of building enough Queens to stop the Hellions, didn't build spores to stop the Banshees. These are all very common Terran, Zerg vs Terran things, right? So if we're not protecting against the basic stuff, how are we going to protect against a complicated thing? You know what I mean? Double Banshee rocks up. You got Cloak. You're going to lose like a whole mineral line before this is done. I didn't even realize it was that bad. 38 workers. We're going to lose another bunch now. And this is why we need roaches at this stage, right? We can't rely on queens with their shitty DPS taking out Hellions, like 15 shots per Hellion. We're losing so much here. And then this base as well. Did we get all 3 Banshees? We did, but we have lost more workers than we've made this game. What's Terran on? He's still only on 2 bases, right? But he has got such an economic... I would call this a lead, a very heavy lead now. You've lost 2,000 more resources than him. He's so far ahead at this stage. And he's just going to keep building more Hellions. So you've got 2 options here. You can build army to try and stay safe against whatever the fuck the next wave is going to be. Or you could build drones. You're kind of hitting a midpoint. You know, I think these roaches are actually built during the attack, so they don't count. Looks like we're droning up. And look at that. This is what I think Terran and Protoss players don't seem to understand, right? Is this dude, Dactyl, you were on 40 drones like a minute ago, and now you're on 62, right? If a Terran has lost 52 workers by now, he'd be on 2 workers, and it would take him forever to recover that. So when you do big damage to a Zerg, it's probably best to follow it up quickly with an attack timing, because if they made drones, they're not going to have any army in the next minute. You know what I mean? Especially if you end up killing this many workers, or take an expansion or 2, because you need to kind of push that advantage even further. Now we've got a handful of roaches versus this. We've got link speed. We have got link speed. So the roaches could probably tank this. We're about to head into supply cap, but we've also got overlords coming, so this is alright. So what we want to do, we want to kill what we can and then leave. We don't want to fight this. Beautiful. That's beautiful. What are you doing? Getting under the monitor, mate. Oh, don't target down the tank. This button here, man. You have enough gas to have turned all of those into Ravagers. Now, this may not seem like a lot, but this is 18 damage per Hellbat, and you just walked into like 6 of them to try and attack a tank. We're talking like 80 damage here, man. That you just rolled yourself into. That's actually splash as well. Whether you realize that or not, I don't know. We are floating. Yes, we spent all of the lava. Yes. Oh. We spent all the lava, which is fantastic. That's what we wanted to do. It's just, I'm worried that this is too little too late. And honestly, with the way that the start of this game, from the first like 4.5 minutes up to like 8 minutes in went, I'm surprised you weren't more panicked about building stuff. Again, we didn't see him leave his base. We need to stop being so worried about losing the stupid Overlord and just leave it there. Especially against Mech Terran. He would have to build either a Viking, a BC, or go into Cyclone or Thor to get rid of an Overlord just standing here. That Overlord would have given you so much warning time. It would have changed everything here. So imagine you have an Overlord right here. It's already seeing this, right? And then he sees you see him, and he either has to commit, knowing full well that you saw him, or stay at home. And that alone could buy you time. We're just not... Look, we could have been building roaches this entire time, man. We could have been building roaches this entire time. We could have caught this well and truly off guard way before here. That's perfect though, right? We got one hellbound, we took some damage and we left. Beautiful. But we're not building anything behind this. Our injects have stopped. I just don't understand why we're not building, using our full amount of lava every time we get a chance to. And we're going from supply block to supply block because we never know when we're going to... Look at the damage copped here. Like, what was that move? You had vision of him. What was this click here? What happened? I think I know what's happened. And this might explain some things to you. You can see here that you've got the attack command on. But I think because they're grouped up with the eggs, they're not actually attacking. They're just walking in. And that's what's going on here. But behind this, we should still be making stuff. We could even take these drones, go over here, because this is about to pop, right? And then just keep going with that next wave. We're building armor. We should be doing both of these. Armor isn't going to matter versus this. And it's not going to really matter much versus this. Dactyl, my man, you need to see them leave their base, my guy. You really need to. You really need to. In every matchup, we do it in ZvZ, they can send a queen out and go kill your overlord. Why is that not a problem? Why is it just this? We just need to have that vision. That's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it.